Hello and welcome back to today's analysis. Today we are going to be kicking things off with DXY. DXY is on a steady rise. This is the daily time frame, and as you can see, we are creating consistent higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher low, and we have a new higher high. Right, I was actually expecting price to continue flying to the upside after this impulsive push up here, after this impulsive breakout, but price looks to be coming back for a retracement until we create a new lower low. Where is my marker? Right, from here we are making new highs, higher low, higher high. So until we have a new low created, which will obviously be lower than this previous zone created, that is when I may become bearish on DXY. But overall, if you go to the monthly and the weekly time frame, price is super bullish for now. So I'm going to focus on a bullish dollar. Coming to the 4-hour time frame, last week I called your attention to the fact that I like to see price come into this zone here before I go for a bullish push. Then my second bullish scenario was, if should price fail to come into this zone below here, I'd like to see price take out this area, right, as it has done, creating a new higher high, then come back to that zone for a retest before we continue higher. So as you can see, price actually went with the second option, gave us a new higher high, came back for a retest. Now, we don't know if price is going to continue higher or lower next week. But as it stands right now, price, I would like to see price continue higher from this point next week. So that will mean a strong US dollar. But if price breaks and closes below the 104.244 area, then I will like to see a retest of this zone that has been tested multiple times before we go for the next rally to the upside. So this is my current bias on DXY. So now that we've seen what is happening on the dollar index, let's go to some dollar pairs, starting with euro dollar. Now, euro dollar, last week I called your attention to the fact that I would like to see a bearish euro dollar, and that was exactly what we got, right? Initially price pushed lower, and you can see price came to our targets down below, and now it's made its way back up. However, price is trading around where we traded last week, right? So I'll repeat the same thing I said last week. Now, last week I called your attention to the fact that I'd like to see price pull back into this gray area. All right, because if we go to the daily time frame, that is what makes sense. So I was actually expecting that pullback before the drop that actually happened, but as it stands now, we went for the drop first, and now it looks like we are going for the pullback. But for price back, I'm back to the 4-hour time frame anyway. So for price to come to this gray area here, which is around 1.08358, all right, price has to take out this 4-hour zone here, which is between 1.07849 and 1.07984. So price has to take out that green zone, and also take out this trend line that I drew from the top here. Let me squeeze out my chart so that you can see where the trend line is coming from. From the top here, we have one touch, we have the second touch. So I'd like to see price take out that trend line and that green zone before making its way to this gray zone. That is if price wants to go bullish before dropping. But price can easily also drop from where it is at the moment. All right, price can easily continue dropping to the downside. Remember, my overall target for now is 1.05377 on euro dollar. So if price breaks and closes above this trend line and this zone, then we are coming to this gray area, which is once again 1.08354. And if we come into that zone, of course, I'm expecting a sell-off. And also, if I see a strong rejection of this area, then I will maintain my bearish position straight up from this zone all the way to the downside around here. All right, overall on euro USD, I remain bearish. Now let's look at gold. Now on gold, last week I called your attention to the fact that I'd like to see this trend line taken out. This is the 4-hour time frame on gold, by the way. Remember, last 2 weeks or last 3 weeks, I called your attention to the fact that gold is going to sell from here to here. Then price came back to that trend line as the last week price was trading around here, and I called your attention to the fact that I would definitely want to see that trend line taken out. If you doubt me, here is the video. So now what I'll be expecting to see next week is for price to finally break below this trend line. Then I'll be looking for a pullback and a bearish opportunity into 1980 areas. So now price did that. I was actually expecting price to come into 1980 region around here, but price came shy of that zone and went back with such an impulsive move back to this zone that has been tested multiple times looking left. As you can see, this zone has been tested multiple times looking left. So this is an interesting area. Remember, I've been particular about the 2016 2015 area if you've been following all my weekly analysis. So now price has made its way back there. I would like to see a rejection of that zone back to the 1980 area. But if this impulsive move continues to the upside, then I'd like to see price close back above the 2016-2015 area, then come back for a retest. Then I'll buy into this zone, which is 2039 area. All right, so this is my buy scenario and this is my sell scenario. So if I see a strong rejection, I'm going to sell to 1980. I'm not trading gold anywhere. I only trade EURUSD, but this is how I would trade it if I was trading gold. So that is that on gold. Overall on gold, I remain bearish. Now let's go to the next on my list, which is GBPUSD. GBPUSD still on the 4-hour time frame, but first of all, let's take a look at what is happening on the daily time frame. So GBPUSD last week, remember, price was trading above this region here, above this green region here, right? So price was trading above here, and I was specific about my view where I said I'd like to see a daily price close below here before seeing a continuous drop to the 1.23305 area, right? So price actually broke and closed below that zone on the daily time frame, but we didn't find enough momentum to push price downward, and that even surprises me, right? Why is price doing this? I was expecting price to move after consolidating heavily around January, but well, price is taking its time. Price has to do what it has to do, right? Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we have a support level. If you look left around here, where's my marker? We have a support level around here. So no wonder price is bouncing off this zone here. All right. But overall, like I said, I am bearish. So even if price is going to be bullish, it's going to be a temporal bullish run. All right. So I'm looking at a rejection of this trend line before we trade all the way to this target here, which is once again 1.23305. All right, so I'd like to see that play out. What if price breaks and closes above this green zone, which is 1.26176, right? That means I would like to see price take out this trend line. So I'd like to see price do something like this, then come back for a retest before I'll look for buys to maybe the 1.27586 area. All right. So if price breaks and closes above this trend line and above this green zone, which is between 1.26192 and 1.25921. So if price breaks and closes above there and also takes out this trend line, then I want to see any pullback so that we can now buy to this target here, which once again is 1.27554. But overall on GBPUSD, I am bearish, right? So if we see a solid rejection of this zone, right, maybe a bearish engulfing candle, that would be a good time to sell to at least the downside as the overall target. Of course, you take profit along the way and all of those good stuffs. All right, now the next on my list, let's look at USDJPY. USDJPY has been moving in our favor, right? It has been moving in our favor. I called all the bearish moves, I've called all the bullish moves also. So last 2 weeks, this was our zone. We're expecting a pullback into that zone, which happened. Price went up. Then last week or last 2 weeks video, price, I talked about this 1 hour time frame zone where I'd like to see price pull back into that zone before rally to the upside. That has also happened. And then last week, let me go back to the 4 hour time frame. And then last week, meanwhile, let me delete all this stuff so that we'll have a clean chart. It's becoming too messy. All right. So yeah, last week we're trading around here. Yep, we're trading around here. So I called your attention to the fact that I would like to see price pull back into this green area here before we rally all the way to the upside. Price came close. It didn't actually come into the area as I actually pinpointed. It came close and then rallied all the way to the upside. However, I called your attention to the fact that if price fails to come into this green zone properly and just breaks above this zone, then I'd like to see a retest of that green zone. Right, I like to see a retest of that zone before we buy, and that is exactly what happened. Price came back into that zone, as you can see here, and now we are pointing upward. So even this temporal push to the downside may just be price trying to form a double bottom, right? Something like this, a double bottom before we rally to the upside. So next week on USDJPY, I am bullish. So like I said, I would like to see something like this, then a rejection of this zone, right? For price to continue higher until we come into 151.409. Then the last on my list for today is AUDUSD. AUDUSD. So I'm just going to analyze the 4-hour time frame. All right. Obviously, the AUDUSD is in a clear bearish trend, right? If I zoom out my chart, you can see from the top to the bottom here, price has been collapsing, right? Nice move. Of course, there were periods of consolidation and all of that. So last week on the Telegram channel, I called your attention to the fact that if I see a good rejection of this area, I was going to look for sells. That didn't happen. I also looked at this trend line as my second area of rejection, which didn't happen. All right, that didn't happen. So let me just refine this trend line. Right, by refining this trend line now, I've captured this first touch, second touch. Let me move it out of the way and do it again. Second touch. And you see the rejection happening at the third touch. So this is not a solid reason for me to jump into the trade, except if you're trading on a much lower time frame, right? But on this particular 4-hour time frame, I would still like to see probably a bearish engulfing candlestick before we sell to the downside. Of course, why I think price may just fall from that zone is because if we look further left, you can see this area has been tested multiple times looking left, right? This area, a precise area that price has respected previously, even around here. All right. And now price is back to that zone. Not only back to that zone, price is at the third touch of a trend line. So there's a higher probability that price may just collapse from this zone. Remember, my initial target on AUDUSD is 0.63502. All right. But if Monday kicks in and price fails to continue pushing lower, right, I'd like to see price close above this green zone, right, above this area. Let me circle the area I'm talking about. I'd like to see price close above this area, which will obviously be above the trend line here. So once that happens, I'll wait for a pullback. Once that pullback happens, I'll go to a much lower time frame, which is maybe the 1 hour, 15 minutes, or 30 minutes time frame. So I'll look for buying opportunities, right? A bullish engulfing candle or whatever. I'll look for buying opportunity until we come into this area, which is around 0.65854. So that's what I would like to see if price is to continue higher. So from this area, I'll be expecting a bearish continuation. So I would like to see that bullish push. If price breaks out of this current trend line, all right, then comes for a pullback before we continue higher. But I'll most likely like to see price continue lower. If I see a solid rejection from this zone, maybe like a bearish engulfing candle like I mentioned earlier, then I'd like to sell and take profits anywhere. But my overall target for now is this 0.63502 region. So guys, that is it for this week. If you like the content I post week in, week out, do us a favor by hitting the subscribe button. If if you haven't, and also like this video. Also make sure you share it with your friends. And if you also want to learn how to analyze the market, how to execute trades, and find consistency in your trading, we still have some spot left at the Let's Trade Academy. So just visit letstrade10x.com or go to the link in the description below and get enrolled and take your trading to the next level. Thanks for staying to the end of this video, and I'll see you in our next video.